Alright guys, with Raw Wrestler here, and today I'm going to be reviewing WrestleMania 34. Are you wondering why the title belt isn't with me? That's because I lost my predictions battle to my friend Chris and Lewis. That sucks. I guess I'm going to have to buy a new title belt. But anyway guys, Raw Wrestler here, and today of course I'm going to be reviewing WrestleMania 34. This show was long, and that's why this review is going up later, because I need sleep. I needed to think about the show. I needed to actually try and remember some of it, because it was a long time ago. And I actually rewatched one match just to see what I actually thought of it, and you'll be surprised, I think. This is actually really one of the biggest WrestleManias I've done in a long time. Like, every match felt like a big match, really, but the problem is, and I'm going to just say this now, when you have a show where every match is a big match, none of them feel like big matches. You take away some of the spectacle of some of the bigger matches. Yeah, there was maybe one or two matches on the main show that were kind of definitely small matches, like the tag match, the three-team tag match, and maybe the US title match. There's one we can talk about. But everything else was like a big, pushed matchup, and just when you push so many matches, none of them really feel that special. There was one that did feel special, Ronda Rousey shirt on, by the way, guys. It turned up today, as did my NXT shirts. It's a shame I couldn't wear those for the NXT review, but I can wear my Ronda one for this one. So I guess we should get into the show. We kick off with the pre-show. We obviously had the Andre the Giant Memorial Battle Royal. I'm not going to go into this in that much detail, just because, to me, it was a very plain, a very bland Battle Royal with very few standout competitors. This Battle Royal was full of geeks. It was full of jobbers. There was basically just a bunch of tag teams and a couple of singles guys like Dolph Ziggler, Baron Corbin, Mojo Rawley, Matt Hardy. But outside of that, you had a bunch of geeks. People got eliminated. It was a very bland, average Battle Royal. The last three men were Corbin, the winner of WrestleMania 32 Battle Royal, Mojo, the winner of the 33 Battle Royal, and Woken, Matt Hardy. They were both beating Matt Hardy down, but then the lights went out. Bray Wyatt came in the ring. He took out Corbin. His sister Abigail Mojo, and then they got rid of Mojo. So Matt Hardy wins the fifth Andre the Giant Memorial Battle Royal, or the Armbar as we are calling it these days. This was very bland, very average, 2 stars, just a Battle Royal. The twist at the end is kind of cool, and I didn't really see it coming, so touche. But, you know, a very bland and average Battle Royal to kick off WrestleMania. We then had the Cruiserweight title, Mustafa Ali and Cedric Alexander. These guys, the crowd were actually somewhat into it, and it was nice to see that the stadium was already very full by this point. They did your typical Cruiserweight, like, 205 guy, like, live stuff. This match wasn't as good as a lot of those matches I have seen in that tournament, like the Roderick Strong match with Cedric Alexander, or the one with Hideo Itami. But it was good. There was a moonsault fall-away slam from Ali. He then hit I believe that he hit a C4 from the top rope. He went for the inverted 450, the 5-4-0 or whatever he calls it. He hit that. Alexander kicked out. He just went for a second one. Alexander moved, hit the lumbar check. 1, 2, 3. Bit basic of a finish, but it was a good matchup. 3 stars. Cedric Alexander is the new Cruiserweight champion. Didn't steal the show, but like, technically, it was probably one of the best matches on the show when you think about it. And then the final pre-show matchup was the first ever women's historic Battle Royal at WrestleMania. The Miss WrestleMania one does not count because a man won it. Speaking of weird people winning things, we'll get to that later. So the women's Battle Royal again was, I'd say, slightly better than the men's. I think just because there was a little bit more intrigue, there was a little bit more story with Bayley and Sasha, and you had obviously the 3 members of the Riot Squad working together, 2 members of Absolution, who actually got dumped very quickly. You had a couple of kind of cool NXT call-ups, which you didn't get in the men's Battle Royal. There wasn't a single one. In this Battle Royal, you had like Kavita Devi, you had Kairi Sane, you had Dakota Kai. So some names there that I don't know if like they're gonna stay up. Kavita Devi should never ever wrestle again. She's bad. And also, I love how they promoted Kavita Devi by saying she's been trained by the great Khali, and we all expect to be impressed. Kairi Sane hit her elbow in the commercial break. She was also eliminated in the commercial break. This match was, as I said, it was a little bit better than the men's one, but in the end, of course, it came down to Sasha and Bayley. They shook hands, and then Bayley quickly eliminated Sasha. Oh, such a heely thing. And then Bayley thought she'd won. Naomi was never eliminated. Bayley's an idiot babyface, so she runs at Naomi, gets the rear view. Naomi throws her out. Naomi wins the first ever Women's Mania Battle Royal. Kind of random to give it to Naomi because she's done nothing really since last Mania, where she retained. Obviously, she won the SmackDown Women's title in Orlando, in her hometown. But since then, she's done very little. She had a very kind of average title reign. I can't say it was bad because there was some length to it, but it was just she didn't have a lot of storylines in it, and her winning this Battle Royal seems kind of silly. I probably would have just given it to Bayley because that at least gives Sasha something to be kind of angry about. So, but anyway, I'd give this one 2.25 stars. This was a little bit better than the men's, as I said. But again, nothing special. It's a pre-show. The main show, and we kick off with a pretty good matchup. Thank God, it was the triple threat match for the IC title. We had The Miz, we had Finn Balor, who didn't come out as the Demon, and we had Seth Rollins. Seth Rollins this time dressed as a Power Ranger, I believe. Or was it a Power Ranger he dressed as? Seth's outfits are usually either Iron Man or Power Ranger. That's usually what he goes for. He was wearing like purple this year. It was kind of like Roman's flak jacket, to be fair. Finn obviously didn't come out as the Demon, and you had Miz, who came out in pink, I believe it was. Wacky. These guys probably had the best like athletic, technically match. These guys probably had the best athletic match on the show. You had, for example, a tease on the outside where Steph was going to give Balor the powerbomb into the apron, obviously put Balor out for so long. Balor got out of that and then gave Steph a big dropkick into the other barricade, which I thought was really cool. You had, of course, The Miz being conniving and sneaky and trying to get the win at any cost. He hit a skull-crushing finale on Rollins at one point, but that was broken up. Then you had Balor, who went to the... I believe it was after... I think Rollins had done, like, a curb stomp, maybe. No. I'm wrong. I think I'm wrong. No, I think Rollins did some... So Rollins hit... Okay, Rollins did the Falcon Hour, the Superplex, and then the Falcon Hour on Miz. And then I think he did something else to Miz, and then he ended up on top of Miz. Balor gave the pair of them a coup de grace. He then went back up to the top rope to give Miz a coup de grace, which he did. But as he went to pin Miz, Rollins curb stomped him, then curb stomped Miz, and then pinned Miz. He pinned Balor, I believe. 1, 2, 3. Rollins is another Grand Slam champion. Rollins wins the IC title. I thought this was very good, but I think the only problem is that I can't remember a lot of it. Like, again, I remember some of the signature spots, the turnbuckle, the drop kick into the barricade. Finn obviously did the shotgun drop kick as well at a point, which looks sick and devastating. You have, of course, Skull Crushing finale. I remember all the finishes, but there's not a lot I remember outside of that. There wasn't any story. There was no real, there's a structure to the matchup, and I said it was quite a well put together match. But in the end, I'm not going to remember this in a couple of weeks, so I'm going to give it 3 3/4 stars. It was still very good, very technically wrestled. But again, I'm not going to remember anything about this in a couple of weeks, and it wasn't particularly special. But it was still a good opener, well, a really good opener to the show. Then we had a match I was shocked to see second on the show. The Royal Rumble winner, Asuka, faces Charlotte Flair for the SmackDown Women's title. Charlotte was the first woman to get a special entrance. She had, remember when Triple H had the throne entrance at WrestleMania 30, where, Alexa and Sasha and Charlotte were, his goddesses, and obviously he took his crown off and you saw his big nose. Kind of similar to Charlotte. She had, a throne and she had guys, of course, instead of gals. And then Asuka just came out. I will say the set as well this year for Reign was awesome. The sets they do every year are fantastic. I do think that 33's was maybe slightly better. I just enjoyed the Orlando kind of ultimate thrill ride kind of thing they had going on. But the New Orleans one this year was very, very cool indeed. So Asuka comes out. We've got Charlotte and Asuka in the ring, and we go at it. This match to me, honestly, and I'm going to say this quite a lot, I think, on the show, was kind of underwhelming. It just... they clicked and they worked well together, but this is Charlotte and Asuka. Asuka, to me, is the best women's wrestler on the planet, and I don't even think it's really close. I think that you have, Kairi Sane, you have, obviously, Io Shirai, but, outside of those girls, Asuka's the man or the woman. And, they did some good stuff, obviously. Asuka went for the Asuka lock several times. She obviously got a great spot, really, which was the best spot of the match, really. was Charlotte going for the moonsault, and then Asuka caught her in a triangle choke. Very smart, very well timed. Charlotte hit natural selection for a 2 count. Asuka hit a series of head kicks, but still couldn't put Charlotte away. But then, and this was kind of out of nowhere, really, and this, I don't know, this kind of upset all of us when we were watching it. Charlotte hit a spear. It's probably the best spear she's ever hit, but she hits a spear, she locks in the figure 8, and Asuka taps out. And I just thought, like, wow, the streak's gone. Like, it's gone. It just to me seemed like a big waste. And Charlotte's winning the belt is fine. I'm not at all angry that she retained. I just think it's such a waste of such a big thing that they built for so many years, and it's also such a waste of that first ever Women's Royal Rumble, because she won the Royal Rumble and then she lost at Mania. And it seems like, as well, you've done all this protecting of her just to lose to Charlotte. Like, Charlotte has won the belt like 5 times now. Like, she didn't need this title reign. She didn't need it. Asuka really should have gone over. But in the end, this matchup, as underwhelming as it definitely wasn't a bad match. It was still pretty good. I'd give it probably 3.5 stars. I could maybe go 3 3/4. I just think the ending and the fact that Asuka tapped as well kind of left a sour taste in my mouth. It felt like it maybe should have gone on later, but now I know that Asuka loses. Maybe it should have gone on earlier. So, I mean, we'll be splitting hairs, I think, about this result for a long time. But 3.5 stars. It was still, again, a very kind of well technically wrestled match. 3.5 stars. Charlotte retained the SmackDown Women's title. And then, I have no idea what happened next. I believe it was after this match where John Cena, who had been sitting in the crowd all night pulling funny faces like he'd never watched wrestling before, was told by a referee that The Undertaker was in the building. So he literally jumped over the barricade and darted up the ramp to get ready for his match. Weird. So yeah, then we had, fourth on the show, we had the US title match, I believe. Yes, spot on. No, third on the main show. We had the US title match, Jinder Mahal, Rusev, Bobby Roode, and the champion, Randy Keith Orton. None of these guys had special entrances, I believe, but Jinder came out in like a special regalia. And obviously English sung before Rusev came out. That was kind of cool. But this match was really forgettable. Like, this was honestly just, again, I think that I don't like matches where there's no structure, there's no real story. I don't mind matches without story, because I think you can have a great match without a story if the two competitors build their story around them just wanting to win or take the title or prove that they're the best. This match, to me, there was just no structure. Guys just kind of hit moves. Like, there was finishes left, right, and centre. Obviously, like, Orton hit RKO'd everyone, and then Roode gave someone a glorious DDT, and Rusev hit several super kicks, and everyone really got behind Rusev. But in the end, Rusev was in the ring with Jinder. There was a segment where they all did schoolboys. I remember that bit. Or was that in the... That may have been actually in the 3-way at the beginning of the show. But there was a segment, I believe, where Rusev nearly won the schoolboy. But then I think one of the Singhs distracted... Oh, sorry, it was Samil Singh. Distracted Rusev. Jinder hits the Colossus. 1, 2, 3. Jinder Mahal is the US champ. I actually predicted this. I thought he would actually win. I didn't want it, because it's Jinder. And it's just one of those things where you say, at least it's not the WWE title. Like, that's the best I can really say. Because the man it's not good enough for the US title, and the US title is so low. And I know what they say, oh, well, a belt is, and this is actually what I said, and then one of my friends kind of countered me. When I said, oh, at least it's the US belt's nothing. Then my friend said, yeah, but it's going to be less than nothing on Jinder. And then I thought, oh, you're right. You're spot on. So in the end, this matchup, it was nothing. There was nothing to it. I don't remember a lot about it. So in the end, 2.25 stars, it was nothing. The finish was well choreographed, but like, nothing. Next on the show, we had a thing that's going to be very divisive, I think. And I think that, as divisive as it will be, I think there's a strong argument that it was the best thing on the show. The mixed tag team matchup, Stephanie and Hunter, who of course had a special entrance. They both came out on bikes. My eye just honestly stings now. I can't think why. Probably because you just rubbed it. But no, it's Stephanie and Hunter, Triple H, who both came out on bikes with a whole bike crew because Hunter's now a biker. And then you had, obviously, Angle and Ronda Rousey. Ronda got, like, a big pop. Like, it was a pop. A serious pop. And especially when she got into the match, there was a big pop because they did so well at teasing it. I think this may have been the best thing on the show outside of the WWE title match. But I think that this one I maybe preferred because it kind of overshot my expectations. Like, this shouldn't have been that good, really. Like, this should have been fine because you've got Angle and Hunter, who honestly did better in this match than they had any right to. You had Rousey, who I think actually did better than she had any right to. And you had Stephanie, who played the cowardly, dastardly, bastard heel. And she did that really, really well. Everyone in this match was really great. So obviously at the beginning, what you had, just before the bell, you had Stephanie pie-facing Ronda, and then you had her pulling her by her hair, which was just added that little bit of like, oh, you want to see Ronda get your hands on it. And I just thought that was really, really smart. This match was just your old school WWE bad guys, good guys booking. And it was great. Like, it honestly was great. You had Angle and Hunter at the beginning, and they did some wrestling. Obviously, Angle was sent out of the ring. He was sent into the stage steps. Hunter suplexed him back in the ring. And then Angle finally would kind of fight back, and he sent Hunter over the top rope with an Irish whip. And then you would see, like, the face of Stephanie, and she was like, Hunter! And he's nearly there. And then Ronda tags in. Ronda darts across the ring, and there was a big pop when Ronda tagged in. She darts across the ring. Woo, Ronda! She darts across the ring, pulls Stephanie in, and then she gives her, like, this cool twisting Samoan drop. That was cool. She obviously went for the armbar at several points too, but after she went for that twisting Samoan drop, Hunter pulled the referee out the ring, and then she pulled Ronda out the ring. Ronda died. Angle and Hunter fought on the outside for a second, but then as Angle went for a German through-in announce table, Hunter just threw him into another announce table, threw him in the ring. We had those two going at it for a little bit, and like they exchanged, like Angle hit a couple of Germans. He then got the Angle slam for a 2 count, which I believe was broken by Steph, because I don't think... it's Triple H, he probably kicked out. Then, of course, you eventually did have... because, obviously, Hunter got rid of Angle. As well, I do have to mention that when Ronda and Steph were in the ring earlier, and this is one of my biggest problems with the matchup, Stephanie was countering the armbar. And it just seemed really silly because Stephanie's not a wrestler. She's not an MMA fighter. She's certainly not Ronda Rousey. So I think that the armbar should have been something like, boom, it's locked in. Like, it should not... Like, she didn't have to tap out. Someone could immediately break it or something. But, like, it just annoyed me that Steph got so much in against... I don't mind her getting in, for example, to get out of the armbar, she used an eye rake. I don't mind her doing that. I don't mind her doing the hair pulling because it's stuff that Stephanie can do. She's a CEO. Anyone can do that. But like countering an armbar just seemed really... Disbelief kind of got dispelled a little bit too much. But again, I do want to add that this match was pantomime. This was theatre. This was pro wrestling goodness from like the 80s, really. And it was just that little bit of thing on the show. Eventually, of course, Rousey got in and she squared up to Hunter. She gave him obviously some strikes. Hunter eventually, Rousey locked in an armbar with like a neck choke, but Stephanie got in and locked in a rear naked choke on Rousey. Rousey flipped her out. Of course she did. Went for the armbar again, but I think again Hunter got in. And at this point, Angle was back in the ring. Angle got pedigreed by Hunter, but Rousey broke the pin. You had a segment where Rousey had the armbar on Steph, not quite locked in though, because she had her arms clasped. And then you had the ankle lock on Hunter, but Hunter like rolled through and sent Angle into Steph. I actually thought that would have been a finish, but I guess you probably needed to put the spotlight more on Rousey. In the end, both Hunter and Steph went for pedigrees. Angle flipped Hunter out of the ring. Steph got flipped over by Rousey. Rousey salivated for a second, locked in that armbar. Steph was screaming no, locked in the armbar fully for 1 second. Steph taps out. That was at least good. Thanks, Steph, for at least not taking the armbar for like 20 seconds. Steph taps out. Ronda wins in her debut. Ronda and Angle take the bait. Well, Ronda and Angle take the bait. They take the cake. And just as the bell went as well, you saw Joe Rogan and Dana White at ringside. Now, Very random. Because obviously Dana has been in talks with Brock, I believe, but Brock and them are just friends. So it was nice to see Dana at Mania, because I don't think he's been at Mania for a couple of years, and I know that Dana is actually a fan of WWE. Joe Rogan's, not really, but I know that definitely Dana is. In the end, this match was great. It just had so much more. It shouldn't have been as good as it was. And again, as I said, pro wrestling pantomime, pro wrestling theatre. Was it the best wrestling match on the show? No, it wasn't. Angle and Hunter were okay. Like, they were better again than I thought they'd be. And again, Rousey and Steph got too much in, which is why I can't give it as high rating as I've seen other people give it. But, yeah, this was just good pro wrestling goodness, and it was cheesy and corny, and after the matchup, Ronda went up and hugged Shayna Baszler. I bet Dana White was smiling in that crowd because he realised Shayna Baszler, former UFC kid, won, and now we have Ronda Rousey, former UFC kid, won. So, UFC is taking over, boys. In the end, I'm going to give this 4 stars. Never had a right to be that good, but it was. So kudos. This may have been my favourite thing on the show. I don't know if it was the best, but it may have been my favourite. After that matchup, we had our, honestly, no offence to it, it was like the piss break match of the show. It was the triple threat SmackDown Tag Team Titles matchup. The New Day, who came out with Midget Pancake Men, the Usos, and the Bludgeon Brothers. This match was just a piss break match. Like, again, I don't remember a lot about it. Like, the Bludgeon Brothers won. They hit a assisted powerbomb from the top rope for the win. That was it. That was genuinely it. Like, there was nothing special about this match. 2 stars. This was nothing. This was genuinely nothing. This actually had a right as well, and this upsets me. Underwhelming. As I said earlier about the Charlotte match, underwhelming. This had a right to be good, and I don't think it was really even good. I thought it was bang average, mediocre SmackDown stuff. And that's a shame, because the Bludgeon Brothers have been built really well. I get that you needed to book them in a kind of squashy manner, because so far, like, this was the squash match of the show, which you usually, well, we'll talk about that later. But this was like your first squash match of the show, and you know, it was as much as you need to have them look really, really strong, you just buried the division. They can't face the Usos again after this. They got destroyed. So did the New Day. Like, the New Day and the Usos got so little offense. Like, yeah, there was a double super kick and a Samoan splash from one of the Usos, and I think they hit the Big Iggy got the big ending at one point, but like, that was it. Like, the Bludgeon Brothers looked totally dominant, and that's fine. But I just think you killed the division. I'm gonna give it 2 stars. As I said, I could give it even worse, really, but just nothing, just absolutely nothing. So after that match, we had what did we have? Oh my God, we had the actual squash match of the show. John Cena. So John Cena comes out and he waits for the Undertaker. The lights go out and Elias comes out. Elias comes out, sings to the ring. John Cena jumps the barricade, sits back down in his seat. Elias makes fun of John Cena. John Cena jumps the barricade, AA's Elias, and then walks up the ramp all depressed. As he's walking up the ramp, his music stops, the lights go out, and we do hear the gong. Not before, though, we saw his hat and his gloves in the ring, and the lightning took them back, I think. They weren't burnt, they were taken back. And then the gong hit, and I honestly, as much as like, the gong will always get me. The gong will always get me. It's the gong. Like, if you said what is the most iconic sound in wrestling, I'd say the gong or the glass shattering. Like, there's nothing else that really comes close. Or maybe the car crash. That's about it for Mankind. But that's literally it. Like, nothing else comes close. The gong hit, Cena dashed down to the ring, and we had Undertaker versus John Cena. And how did it go? Well, Taker gave him a leaping clothesline. He gave him snake eyes. He gave him old school. Cena hit a proto bomb. Went for the 5-knuckle shuffle. 5-knuckle shuffle. Taker did the sit-up. Cena lost it like shit himself. Taker chokeslammed him, tombstoned him, and pinned him. Oh my God. Like, when I watched this, I was in 2 minds about it. Because, of course, I did want to see, like, a really great John Cena Undertaker match. because I think they could have done it like 5 years ago. I think that, honestly, if this was like Mania 30 or Mania 29, he could have had a really great match with Cena, because Cena is one of the, and they say this, he's Big Match John. He's one of the best big match guys. Every big match he has on a big show is usually pretty damn good. So, on the other hand, I do understand why they went 2 minutes and around 50 seconds. Because it's Taker. As much as Taker this year did look better than he did last year, and the year before, and the year before that, and the year before that, he looked great this year, really. He looked in shape. He's 53, I'm thinking now. Like, he's done. And if this is his done, great. This is like revenge for the streak loser ending. Taker is now 24-2, I'm thinking. Because it was 21-1 when he'd lost. So 22 would be Bray, 23 would be Shane, 23-2 would be Roman, so 24-2. So 26 WrestleManias. That is an incredible record that I don't think will ever be beaten. Hunter's obviously on 22, but I don't know if he'll have many left. And nobody will definitely have the 24 wins, and especially beating the caliber of opponents. I don't think anybody has ever been on top of the card for so long as Taker. And as much as he hasn't been on TV, you can't argue that when his matches are on, they are main events. And not just like one of 4 main events, they are the main event. And as much as this match wasn't the main event, again, you've got to understand why, because it was a squash. Does this hurt John Cena? Not really. Like, I was really angry a couple of months ago, and I can say this. Someone said, oh, John Cena losing is not a big deal. It depends on who he loses to. Like, the magic of beating John Cena is a big deal. It is a big deal. It's like when AJ beat him, it was a big deal. When Rollins beat him in that... when Rollins, for example, beat him a couple of years ago in the feud they had, it was a big deal. When Elias pinned him on Raw, it was not a big deal. Because it's Elias. And when you have someone like AJ or Rollins, the main event guys, beating him, it's a big deal. When you have Elias beating him, it doesn't even elevate him, really, because you've got to think about how they get the win as well. So, Cena losing to Taker does nothing to hurt him. It's The Undertaker. I get that he's 53 years old, but it is The Undertaker. And it just kind of harkens back, and it makes me think of the feud that Reigns and Cena had, where Cena commented, oh, Reigns, you beat a 50-year-old man. And I just think, Cena, you lost in 3 minutes to a 50-year-old man. I can't rate it because it didn't really go over like 3 minutes. But this was was it good or not? You know what? It was good. It was good. It was a cool moment. This was a WrestleMania moment, as they say. Probably at this point, this was probably like my second favourite thing on the show after the Rousey thing. And I did actually have to watch the Rousey thing again. That's the only thing I've rewatched. I don't think that's unfair to anything else. I don't want to watch a lot of the other stuff again. Like, it should give it some credit that I did want to watch that again. Then we had the 10th match on the show, and at this point, I was getting tired. We were all tired. I was drinking Strongbow at the same time. It was going through me. 10th match on the show, Daniel Bryan and Shane McMahon against Sami Zayn and Kevin Owens. And as much as I was hyped, really, for Daniel Bryan's return, this was just a match. This was a match you could have seen on SmackDown or just any other pay-per-view. Daniel Bryan got powerbombed on the apron early. Do you remember when the powerbomb on the apron from Owens was like a big spot, and it was like a career, like nearly a career ender, like it was a 6-monther. Neville took it, and Zayn took it, and all these different guys took it and were out for ages. No, it's just a match. It's just a match. It's just like a buffer thing for a match. So, with Daniel Bryan out, that means that Shane McMahon had to fight both Zayn and Owens on his own, and realistically, they should have gone like a minute, really. And Shane should have won. No, like, what is it with McMahon's and putting themselves over? What is it? Like, Shane fought, they did some spots, he took a blue thunder bomb, he kicked out, he, I think, took a pop-up power bomb, maybe. Sami went for a haluva kick on him, he ducked, he did coast to coast, I believe, yeah, he did it, but when Sami was in the Tree of Woe, finally Bryan would come back in to break the pin. I think it might have been off the pop-up power bomb. He hulked up. He did the IED drop kicks in the corners. He did the yes kicks. He did the single leg high knee, and then he put Sami in the yes lock, the label lock, and Sami tapped out. Zayn and Owens are going to Raw. Daniel Bryan is back. This match was just a match. And as I said earlier, when you have so many big matches on a show, none of them feel big. Outside of the ones that have true draws and stars, like the Rousey match and the Lesnar match, none of them really feel big. They just feel like a random pay-per-view main event. Or like a random pay-per-view match in this match's case. In the end, when rating this, like 3 1/4, like, again, this is one of the better technically wrestled matches on the show. Again, because you have Bryan, you have Zayn, you have Owens, so it should be. But, yeah, just a match. Like, as much as you could say, oh yeah, 3 1/4 stars is like a good rating, Ross. Like, I know times when you've said that is a good rating, but it's WrestleMania. Like, it should feel like more than just a match. I could watch this match on SmackDown or Raw or just a normal pay-per-view. People need to understand this is WrestleMania. And this was just a match. Then we had... this is one that's going to be, I think, very divisive. We had the WWE title. Again, another one I think is going to be very divisive. Shinsuke Nakamura, who had a cool entrance, loads of violinists played into ring, but he didn't have Lee England Jr., which was a bit sad because I really liked Lee England Jr. AJ Styles and Shinsuke Nakamura for the WWE title. Underwhelmed. It just felt, again, and I'm going to say it just felt like a pay-per-view main event. Like, and I know people are saying, but it was really, really good. Just enjoy it. Like, I can't. It's WrestleMania. I'm going to give this, like, a decently high rating as well. But this is AJ Styles and Shinsuke Nakamura. I've seen better matches from both. Like this year. With guys who are lesser. Like, and that isn't mean to anyone they've had better matches with. That really isn't. I've seen Nakamura have better matches in NXT with Bobby Roode. I've seen AJ have better matches with Cena. I've seen AJ have better matches with Roman Reigns. I've seen Shin have better matches with... I don't know. Joe, like... Yeah. Like, and this wasn't a bad match. Again, they did some decent stuff. Shin hit a landslide. They did a cool thing early where, like, obviously, Nakamura did, like, the little head thing on his chest, and AJ just smacked him. And Nakamura was just like, okay. Alright, I'm Shin, remember. I can hit you as hard as fuck. I'm stiff as a bastard, basically. So, Shin and AJ, they did some stuff. AJ hit the phenomenal forearm. Shin took a bump for that, which looked great. Hit the double knee. Shin obviously hit the double knees in the corner. You know, they just did some stuff. Shin finally got the Kinshasa, which honestly looked more like a Bomaye knee to the back of Styles' head. And this was also after... Like, Styles hit a Pele, Shin, like, wobbled for a second, and then hit, like, it wasn't even a Kinshasa, it was a Bomaye knee. It was a Bomaye knee. We're having a New Japan match here. And it looked awesome. Styles kicked out. Shin was like, oh my god, what do I do? He went for a landslide from the top, which I think AJ escaped. AJ hit a Hushikaroshi at one point. But in the end, Shin went for a second Kinshasa, or a second Bomaye, but it looked more like a... I think he did a Kinshasa on the... Oh, no, sorry. I'll talk about that in a second. But he went for a second Kinshasa in the match. AJ countered it in a really weird way. Like, Shin went for the Kinshasa. AJ caught him in like a powerbomb, dropped him down, hit the Styles Clash. And we all thought, Shin's kicking out. 1, 2, 3. AJ wins. And it was like, again, I don't mind AJ winning. AJ's fucking great. But the Royal Rumble winner's just lost again. Like, I just think the Royal Rumble winner should... not always win, and I think it said that the record, a couple of years ago, it was like 70%. I imagine now that's dropped to like 50 maybe, because Reigns lost, and you had, obviously Orton won, but, you know, like, Batista lost, come on, like, I don't know, like, and the match was, again, it was, I hesitate to say it was great, because it was very, very well wrestled. The crowd heard it because they weren't that much into it. The time they got, they could have used another like 5 minutes just just to do one more near fall that would have been really good. But the finish was smart and it was a really good finish. But in the end, the matchup, if I was pulling in the aftermatch stuff with obviously Shin and AJ, they shook hands. Shin got down to one knee to like present him with a belt, and then he low blowed him, threw him out of the ring, and then Kinshasa'd him. Like, if I was counting that in, it'd probably be like a 4.25 star match. But as it is, it's like a 4. Like, it's just a match. Like, it's just a pay-per-view main event, and this is AJ and Shin. So in the end, was this better than their Wrestle Kingdom 10 match? It was not even close to their Wrestle Kingdom 10 match. Came nowhere near to that. And I get that they can do more in New Japan, but honestly, I don't know if they could, because the things they did here, like the sick-ass Bomaye, or the sick-ass Kinshasa, it looked like a Bomaye, like, they were doing stiff striking and stuff. So I don't know what happened here. Maybe the road agent fucked them. Maybe they fucked themselves and just decided we've only got 20 minutes. We need to do a certain amount of stuff. And they said, oh, we want to do this cool finish that people are really going to like. And it was a cool finish. But usually everyone kicks out of the Styles Clash. Jericho got it at WrestleMania 32. He kicked out. Shane kicked out of the Styles Clash. Like it's just a Styles Clash now. And Shin couldn't take it. And it's weird how I talk about how I love finishes getting kicked out of. Like, I mean, sorry, I hate it when too many finishes kicked out of. Talk about that in the main event. But I hate it when too many finishes kicked out of. But here, in the WWE title match, the dream match, it just seemed like Shin should have kicked out of at least one. But in the end, he didn't. So I'm going to give the match up. If I count the aftermath thing, which I guess I will, because I counted all the Rousey stuff, I'm going to give it 4.25 stars. It was technically the best thing on the show. It wasn't my favourite because, again, it was very underwhelming. And when you say a match is 4.25 stars and it's underwhelming, that is a... Is that a slap in the face to those performers who obviously tried really hard? It's not. It's really not, because I think they know that they could do better than this. Again, as I said, maybe it was an agent that fucked them. Maybe it was the company. Maybe there was a restriction in the Louisiana state combat rules that fucked them, but that didn't seem to screw anyone else. So, 4.25 stars. It's a shame that I'm talking so sadly about a 4.25 star match. So in the end, like, this was the best thing on the show, and the worst thing on that NXT TakeOver was probably like 3.5, and like, the NXT title, I think I gave 4.5, I gave 4.5 to the ladder, and then obviously 5 to the main event. So, which show do you think was better? I'll talk about that at the end, I think. So yeah, Shin and AJ. It was great, really, but the whole thing was great with the entrance and the aftermath, but the matchup was underwhelming. Then we had Braun Strowman. Braun Strowman and his mystery partner against the Bar. The Bar came out with like a float. Braun Strowman pushed the float off the stage first, just so he could go rah, basically. Braun Strowman's mystery partner. Braun Strowman came out. He got the mic and said, "My mystery partner is no one backstage. It is going to be one of you," and pointed at the crowd. So then we all thought there's going to be a plant, like Neville or something's going to have a hoodie on, or Samoa Joe, or Bray Wyatt even, who knows. But no, he went into the crowd, legitimately picked a child called Nicholas, got in the ring with Nicholas, the bell rang, Braun did a little bit of a match with the Bar. This kid on the ropes, by the way, my friend said, and no offense to the kid, my friend was like, looks like a girl. Like, maybe he's called Nicola, or she's called Nicola. I think it's Nick. I think it is a boy. It's just a very, honestly, feminine-looking boy. As the most masculine-looking male. But Braun and the Bar did a match, and it was a match. I feel like I've skipped something. Am I misremembering the way the show went? I am misremembering it. Like, I thought, Jesus, I've misremembered this show. Okay, I'll talk about this Braun bit quickly, and then I'll go back to the Raw Women's title, which honestly shows how forgettable it was. I haven't skipped anything else, have I? No. Okay, so I'll talk about this Braun thing. Braun and the Bar honestly just did a match. The Bar controlled Braun. Braun kind of fought back. Braun was a babyface in peril. The Kid, Nicholas, stuck his hand out. Braun tagged him in. The Kid got in the ring for a second, stared at Cesaro, tagged Braun back in. Braun got straight back in. Power slam, 1, 2, 3. 2 stars. It's just a match. Like, again. And as silly as like, we were all laughing when we watched this, but, like, in retrospect, like, come on. You built this mystery partner thing up so much. Did you not have anybody that could have done it? That means as well that Braun Strowman and Nicholas are defending the Raw Tag Team titles at the Greatest Royal Rumble on the 27th against the Hardy Boys in a ladder match. They have to lose it. Is this gimmick going to be that this kid's his partner, which is what it says on WWE.com and Wikipedia and a couple of other sites, or is he going to have a new partner every week? I'd probably, if you're going to do this Nicholas thing, just roll with it. The Kid looked scared as hell in the ring. He looked scared as hell in the apron. He looked scared as hell when Braun gave him his title. He looked scared as hell walking up the ramp. 2 stars. It was just a match. And speaking of something that was just a match, Alexa Bliss, Nia Jax for the Raw Women's title. Alexa had a special entrance too. She came from the heavens, which is why Bobby Roode, I guess, couldn't have the lift. She came from the heavens as the goddess. She had her mother, Mickie James, with her. Mickie James was immediately killed by Nia Jax as the match began, and then the women honestly just proceeded to have a match. Alexa hit a Twisted Bliss to the outside on a standing Nia Jax, which was kind of cool. She did a DDT to her in the ring. She never did insult to injury. Nia hit a Samoan drop on Alexa. Like, just a couple of things happened, and then they went to the top rope. Nia did a Samoan drop from the top rope, pinned Alexa. Nia gets her first women's title reign. It's how it should have ended. I'll give him 2.5 just because it was kind of just how they should have done it. Like, yeah, I mean, I would have preferred it if Nia just squashed her, but we had 2 squashes basically at this point already, so you couldn't really have another one. Nia wins the Raw Women's title, her first women's title reign, and yeah, 2.5. Again, just yeah. Then we had the main event. This, as much as this was weird, this was not just a match. This was strange. I don't even know how to wrote something like this main event. Brock Lesnar, Roman Reigns, they brawled outside early. Brock went for a belly to belly and fell over. So, like, ended up throwing Reigns at the announce table, like, across it. Luckily, not into it, because if we threw him into it, it would have killed him. They fought on the outside a little bit. They sent each other into the steps and the barricade and stuff. Brock got in, gave him a couple of Germans, gave him the first F5, 1-2 kick out. Gave him the second F5, 1-2 kick out. The F5, honestly, was built up so well into this matchup. They'd already killed it by him kicking out of 2. Third F5, 1-2 kick out. Takes him outside of the ring. F5s him through the announce table. 1-2, kick out. Takes him back in the ring. Reigns, I think, did a Superman punch. Reigns hit a single spear at this point. Tries to pin him. 1-2. I think he did 2 spears actually in a row. 1-2, kick out. Reigns hulks him up for another F5, which is the 5th one. 1-2, kick out. Reigns, somehow, I think he hit a Superman punch. 2 spears in a row. 1-2, kick out. And then Reigns goes for a powerful running one. Lesnar catches him. And this is after, by the way, Lesnar had busted Reigns open hard way, kind of like he did to Orton at SummerSlam back in 2016. When he obviously he did the elbows, and he did like 3 of them to Reigns, and they were powerful. I get that Reigns is a big guy, but we should never bust people open hard way. It is stupid. It is ridiculous. And as much as people want to go, oh, he's shooting. He's not shooting. He's not shooting. He wouldn't have won if he was shooting. I hate it when people dislike a performer and they just say that they're shooting. It's usually Reigns, actually, that they say they're shooting. Just because he's Reigns. Just because he was in the UFC, apparently he's a shooter because he's a dickhead, basically, Brock Lesnar. He's such an evil human. So he busted Reigns open hard way. Reigns was bleeding to death. This is when he did the 2 spears and he went for the running one. Lesnar caught him, F5'd him for a 6th time and pinned him. 1, 2, 3. There was no Kimura in this matchup, which was a weird thing that I just noticed. There was barely any Superman punches. Reigns hit, honestly, 2 moves. The spear and the Superman punch. And he didn't do a lot of Supermans. He hit 4 spears. This match, I don't know what to say about it. What did I enjoy it? I don't even know. Because I can't say it was like a dud, because it wasn't a dud. Like, this wasn't like Wyatt and Orton last year. This was a weird, crazy matchup that in some way was kind of enjoyable, because there was this holy shit moment at the end where Lesnar won. There was this holy shit moment where he nearly killed Reigns. But again, the near falls for Reigns were quite good. And the near falls off like the 5th and 6th F5, which the 6th F5 wasn't near fall. The one for the 5th F5 and the 4th F5 were good. But, the spears near falls were good as well. But this match was just, like, as much as the Joe match, the Joe match at Great Balls of Fire was really great because it was when Lesnar was offense, he went for Germans. When Joe was on offense, he went for the Kakina. When those things happened, like, it felt like each man was just trying to use their big missile. In this matchup, it honestly felt like that kind of too. But the problem was, this went too long. It went 15 minutes of it. If you've done this thing and you've just gone, oh, Reigns goes for a spear, Lesnar goes for German, or even an F5, like, because he did more F5s than Germans in this match, which killed us on the What Culture drinking rules. The Cultaholic drinking rules. You had, if they'd just done that kind of style, but in like 10 minutes and cut the last 5 minutes off, this would have been really good. Like really, really good. And this wasn't bad. Like, in terms of match on the show, did it have a structure? Not really. But did that Lesnar match have structure? Not really, and I loved that match. Like, it did feel like a train wreck, which was kind of how it should feel. It's 2 men that hate each other. They despise each other. It was supposed to be one of the most brutal matches in WrestleMania history. And in the end, it probably was one of them. I just think you don't need the end 5 minutes. You probably don't need 6 F5s. Probably more like 4 would have done with the announce table one. Because again, like, the F5 had been built up so well. And I just think now you've just killed it. And as much as, like, Lesnar winning was a shock, I would have preferred if they'd just given Reigns the belt. Does this mean Lesnar's re-signed? Probably. Is he walking out with the belt? No. People honestly have such a bad idea of the person Brock Lesnar is. He's just a southern boy who has a family, has a wife, and just wants to provide for him. That's literally it. Like, does he enjoy his job? I bet he enjoyed that match. I bet he loved that match. How do I rate it? I don't know how to rate it. It's wonky. But I think I want to give it a high rating like that Joe match. But I can't give it so high a rating. So I think in the end, I'm going to give it 3 3/4 stars. I think that it was very good because of what they tried. And I don't think a lot of people are going to get what they were trying to do. Go back and watch that Joe match. Then watch this match. They are very similar. It's just you swap the spear for the Kakina and you really swap the German for the F5. And I think that was silly swapping it for the F5, but it's what they did. And what they did kind of worked. Lesnar wins. He leaves with the Universal title. We had, honestly, on a show where I thought every belt would change, we had the WWE Champ retain, we had the Universal Champ retain, we had the the SmackDown Women's Champ retain. 3 big title retentions on 3 guys that, honestly, I think all should have won. And that, honestly, was WrestleMania. And I've been talking about it for a long, that's a long time to talk about a wrestling show. But it's one of those shows that needs talking about because it was weird. And in the end, in rating it, look, I really loved the Rousey stuff. Like, it was really well handled. The opening Intercontinental match was very good. The Lesnar match was something you will never see again. Like, as much as, like, I mean, the Joe match, again, as I said, I'm comparing it. but I don't think you'll ever quite see one that brutal again. Because, again, like the hard way blood and it was something. You had a guy in you had a match, sorry, in the WWE title match, which was great, just underwhelming. You had the SmackDown Women's title match, which was very good, just underwhelming. You had 3 squashes, really. The Braun match was really a squash. Like, yeah, he got took out for a bit, but then he hit one move and won. Like, you had 3 squashes. The Cena one I thought was a great moment. The Bludgeon Brothers one was just a match. You had the Braun thing, which I think was very silly, and it was just a waste of potential. You had the US title match, which was nothing. I thought both Battle Royals really were nothing. The Cruiserweights were okay. Like, the Raw Women's title was forgettable. In the end, I don't remember a lot. It was a very forgettable Mania. I'm never going to forget the ending, because I think it just came at such a shocking moment, and I don't think anybody expected it. Everybody that I was sitting with and we watched it, we all picked Lesnar. Kind of like we all picked Nakamura. Kind of like we all picked Asuka. And it seems like on this show, they just wasted things. They wasted Asuka's streak. They wasted Braun's tag team partner. They wasted the Battle Royal, to me, really, giving it to Naomi. They wasted Daniel Bryan's big return match, having it in a tag. Just a shame. In the end, in rating this Mania, though, it's not that bad a show. Like, it's not a bad show. It's certainly not bad. I don't think there was a bad match on the show, okay? There was some boring matches. There was some nothing matches. But there wasn't really a bad match. There's nothing I've rated under 2 stars, which is really where the bad stuff comes in. 2 stars is, like, average. So there's a lot of average and a lot of, like, mediocre kind of nothing matches. But in the end, it's not a bad show. And there isn't a bad match. So in the end, I think I can give it a 6 out of 10. Do I recommend watching it? I'd say watch the IC title match. Watch the Asuka match. Skip the US title match. Watch the Rousey thing. That was, again, favourite thing on the show. Really, it didn't underwhelm me. It over-delivered. Skip the Braun thing. It's just a waste. Watch the main event because it's wacky. Watch Styles and Nakamura, but then go and watch their New Japan match. And then watch Daniel Bryan's return. Outside of that, there's nothing. And then watch Cena Undertaker, just because we've now seen it. I guess that's it, guys, though. Anyway, thanks for watching. This has been Raw Wrestle Lot. In the end, was WrestleMania as good as TakeOver? No, it wasn't. It was nowhere near. And I said this last year about the Mania last year, and I thought that was a pretty good show, but again, Orlando last year, although there was no belt changes, I do think it was a very awesome, great wrestling show with some fantastic wrestling. This year's TakeOver, as I said, I think it's actually probably the best TakeOver they've ever done. Maybe, like, match by match is not the best TakeOver they've ever done, because the week's match on that show, I think I gave, 3.5, 3 3/4, the tag. But I think in terms of telling stories and match quality for individual matches, like, dude, yeah. That TakeOver killed Mania. Mania in the end, though, was okay. Thanks for watching. This has been Raw Wrestle Lot. Like, comment, subscribe for more. Tell me your thoughts. What do you think to WrestleMania 34? What was your favourite match? What do you think to Brock Lesnar winning and retaining the Universal title? What do you think to Asuka's streak being over? What do you think to the Styles Nakamura match where you was underwhelmed as I clearly was? What do you think to Daniel Bryan's return? What did you think to Ronda Rousey's debut? I guess what was your favourite thing on the show? What was your least favourite thing on the show? And what do you think to the squash of John Cena? Thanks for watching, guys. This has been Revolver Wrestler, or shall I say Rowdy Revolver Wrestler.